Commissioners, I'm ready to move off that section 28 summons. As I understand section 28, all summonses are assigned by yourself. And I think that has been it is my experience insofar as the dockets are concerned. The dockets before us.
Yes, in most matters, but in other matters, and it all depends on availability, deputy directors of public prosecutions can also sign the summons.
So is that delegated authority or is that an original authority they have?
They have a delegated authority because it is incidental to prosecutions and investigations.
So would there be a written delegation of authority from you?
They all have a delegated authority, yes.
I'm interested
Yes.
in whether it's a written delegation of authority
yes.
that we can ask for.
Correct.
So is it a general authority that you issued to all or specific persons? And if so, when is it renewable on a periodic basis? How does it work?
It's in terms of section 20 of the NPA Act, we delegate authority and it's a once-off delegation unless the rank changes and you have to upgrade that authority. And of course, when new persons come into the fold and the authority for different functions delegated to the different functionaries. But the main gist of all those authorities is the ability to institute prosecutions for and on behalf of the state and to conduct investigations incidental to those prosecutions.
I ask because I'm looking at section 28(6), which I understood that most of these summonses that we've considered are issued in terms of. There are section 28 summonses.
Correct.
So where's mine? Have you located your copy?
I have a copy.
I read section 28 sub 6. And it states that for the purposes of an investigation, remember we are in section 28.
Yes.
Sub A, the investigating director may summon any person or ask for any document or book in their possession or under their control. And at B, the investigating director or person designated by him or her may question any person. Do you see that?
Yes.
So most of the section 28 summonses I've seen, at least in the dockets, are signed by you, just like the one we were considering just before lunch. Now, section 28 sub 7 provides that a summons referred to in subsection 6, which is the one we've just looked at, shall be, and it states AB, and I'm interested in C, be signed by the ID or a person authorized by him or her. So there seems to be a requirement, if it's not signed by you, for specific authorization by you, which of course, implicit in that is that you delegated the power. And as we know, with the rules of delegation, it must be in writing.
Correct.
So it would be fair to expect that if we come across a summons that is signed by anyone but the ID, there would be within IDAC's records that delegation to be compliant with sub 7.
That is correct.
There would be a written delegation.
Yes, and that delegation, if I may, Council, is in terms of section 20 of the NPA Act, power to institute and conduct criminal proceedings. The power is contemplated in section 1792 and all other relevant sections of the Constitution to A, institute and conduct criminal proceedings on behalf of the state. B, carry out any necessary functions incidental to instituting and conducting such criminal proceedings, and C, discontinue criminal proceedings. So they have a Section 20 authority, and that allows them then to deal with functions incidental to investigations and prosecutions. One of which,
I read 20 to speak to the institution and conduct of criminal proceedings.
on behalf of the state.
Yes.
Yes,
And not investigations. You recall, as I understand, IDAC has got both powers.
Yes.
Power of investigation and power of prosecution.
yes,
And Section 20, on my reading, relates to criminal proceedings, which is the prosecutorial part of the NPA. Section 28 that we have dealt with, you remember we dealt with Section 28.1 and 28.13, which speak to investigations. And that particular section, insofar as investigations are concerned, and the issue of issuing of summonses prescribes that a summons must be signed in 7 sub C, must be signed by the ID or a person authorized by him or her.
Correct.
My interpretation is that that's a separate now
yeah.
authorizations.
yes.
So my question was, is it fair to assume where there is a summons signed by anyone but yourselves, that there would be a record of the delegation of that power to that specific person within IDAC?
That should be,
That's
yes.
a fair assumption. Please turn to, we're still with file 9. I'm at 3527. This is CJC 397. Page 35, no, did I say 97? 3527, okay, thank you. I thought I'd mentioned the wrong page. 3527, that's CJC 397. And you see at the top of that document, it says it's a summons in terms of Section 28.6, read it with 28.7 of the NPA Act, which are the subsections we just had regard to now. You confirm that?
I confirm.
I see this is a summons issued on the 11th of May 2026. It's signed by Advocate S. Manilal. And if we go to page 3530, you have a main heading introduction under A-B background. And it's at 5, it says, the information required from you relates to the conducting of an investigation into serious fraud and corruption committed within the South African Police Service. This investigation was authorized by the investigating director in terms of Section 28 sub 1 sub A of the NPA Act into allegations of the commission of the following offenses: A, fraud; B, corruption. Which investigation is this? Perhaps let's move on to Annexure B. It might shed light. Annexure B provides the particulars pertaining to this investigation and states that the PKTT team that traveled to the Western Cape for the arrest of Mr. Fadiel Adams. And in that regard, IDAC requires certified copies of all travel documents for the PKTT members who traveled to the Western Cape and were involved in the arrest of Mr. Fadiel Adams for the period 30th April to the 8th of May 2026. Travel documents must include all applications, itineraries, SAP 501s, approvals, The members would have departed on 30th April 2026 and returned on the 8th of May 2026. And it's signed by Advocate Manilal. Which investigation is this? Where IDAC issues a Section 28 to demanding details and documents pertaining to the PKTT's team's travel to the Western Cape to arrest Mr. Fadiel Adams.
Maybe to point out that 3527 at the foot of the page, that the investigator is Brian Padeachi.
This is somewhat confusing because it looks like IDAC is asking the police to indicate who went to, I would assume it's on the arrest of Mr. Adams, who went to arrest him and what it costs. And that isn't part of anything that I'm aware of we are doing at IDAC. This isn't brought to me. This is signed by the deputy. They are delegated to sign. But I cannot see the relevance of why we would ask who traveled. A different conversation, Chair, might have been if one wrote to the National Commissioner indicating this is a witness, we would like to know what charges he faces, something like that, a very generalized, because we want them to know he's our witness, they have taken him. But other than that, I can't legitimate this because I don't know why this happened.
Even that, why would IDAC put forward such an inquiry? Because it suggests that if the individual is your witness in some or other matter, he's then above the law and cannot be acted upon by any arm of the law enforcement. So what would be the basis for the inquiry? Unless it is interfering with that person in their capacity as a witness, which you would have to spell out in that communication.
The communication would merely be to indicate this person is a witness in our matters and we are informing you. And then that stays where it is. It becomes important when you have a witness who is subsequently arrested. You do inform the other team. We've done that in other matters as well. If you take, and not to go into his details because he has yet to come to the commission. When Mr. Matlala was arrested in Joburg on other matters, we were already busy with a corruption matter. We informed that prosecution team, colleague to colleague. I just would like you to know, IDAC is only vested with this matter into Mr. Matlala, and we're not aware of what you are doing, but if you need anything, ours is purely a corruption matter and vice versa. That way, either teams get to collaborate, we don't trample on one another's toes, but it's a collegiality we've always afforded one another.
If you don't know anything about this, it then suggests that there are investigations that are being conducted by an organization that you don't know about. Is that how it operates? Is that how IDAC operates? That the head may not know that there are investigations against certain people and in certain matters that are happening?
Not in that sense, but if they are already busy with an investigation and within that investigation team, they see fit to seek information that they think may help their matter, they are allowed to go ahead as investigators and prosecutors. And so I don't know why it happened.
And that would be part of an investigation. It flows from an investigation, right?
Correct.
But you are not aware that there is an investigation into the arrest of Mr. Adams?
No,
You're not
because-
aware that there's such an investigation?
No, I did see on television that Mr. Adams was being arrested. That is a matter that must get dealt with wherever it gets dealt with. So for us to want to know anything, I think it's not just about the anything. It was the detail of what was being sought.
Yes.
And what would you do with this detail? If
Why
they
do you
gave
want the
detail?
names of people,
Correct.
indeed, who arrested him?
Correct.
And you say you were never made aware that there is such an inquiry or there is such an investigation that IDAC is looking into.
Correct.
Thank you.
So, and no idea why a team would have then deliberated on something like this.
Yes.
And not brought it to the attention of the head. If it was going to make a difference to cases we had where he is a witness,
Yes.
that's different. But even when you look at the level of the detail that is asked, it can in no way further the investigation that we have.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Based on your response, doesn't reading this section 28 summons and the detail contained therein as regards what IDAC wants, have we not crossed the line of interference? Is this not interfering with the affairs of SAPS as law enforcement agencies in circumstances where IDAC doesn't know, at least from these summons, why that particular individual was arrested? Is this not rendering SAPS accountable to IDAC for decisions that SAPS takes? And if so, what would be the statutory entitlement to that?
It does not make sense at all. That's why I said that there's no requirement, there's no legal requirement. They may have used a legal document to procure this or attempt to procure this, but there's no legal basis for the existing investigations in IDAC where Mr. Adams made a 27 referral and however many supplementary A1s. It cannot take the matter further knowing who arrested him, why they arrested him, and so on.
So would it be fair then, based on the face of this document and your responses, I take it you have no knowledge of the summons, you never authorized the issue of such a summons?
Correct.
So the commission must turn to the person who signed it, which is Advocate Manilal, together with his investigator as reflected at page 3527, Mr. Brian Padiachi, who's the senior investigating officer. The answer must lie between the two of them.
Correct.
We shall do so. Thank you.
Maybe just to complete this, you will see in the last 2 pages that the SAPS does indeed respond, and now we know Mr. Manilal and IDAC have the names of the people that effected the arrest. You see that at page 3532 and 3533. So whatever purpose he sought these names for, he has now been given the names, and maybe he'll come and tell us what he did with the names. Okay, thank you.
And having worked through these documents, did it happen often when you were the ID that investigations are initiated without your knowledge? You will recall that I think when we started our engagement last week, I had expressed a concern that it sounds like everyone within IDAC was on a frolic of his own and running their own show. And this is one such case that brings that to the fore. I want to know, are there many of such, to your knowledge, that are perhaps lying about in IDAC? If this particular summons is anything to go by, I would suggest that they should be.
In all fairness, Chair, there's the teams work within a very structured approach with their matters. They won't come to me with every section 28, but the 28 has to have purpose. And I haven't stumbled across one where even when we have a discussion, then it's out of sync. Sometimes they may have asked for something extra or something less, but it is within the framework of what they were allowed to ask in order to further that investigation. And where I have to make a slight qualification is, I'm not sure what drove this. And so they would have to answer, why would we need that information? Where does it take the Adams complaints, regardless of whether we've put them now to the side and whether the section 27 is substantial, insubstantial? What will we do with this? What do we do with this?
Where could it possibly take the Adams complaint?
Nowhere. As we have it,
yes.
nowhere. And that's what I'm saying. They've now, Commissioner Baloy has shown at the last 2 pages, having all these names and knowing whether approval was granted or not, knowing whether it cost 5 cents or 5,000 rands, does not take the Adams matter or matters any further than before he got arrested.
And knowing who from PKTT effected the arrest as well.
Yes.
Doesn't take
The matter any
investigation.
further.
No, so is it your testimony to this commission that this actually was the first time such occurred? Can you confidently say so? And if the answer is potentially yes, what would give them, should I say, the strength or the bravery to do just what they did in May 2026? How do you land there as the ID? And I will add to that, if I may. You've been an ID for a few years. If you were in office, what would be the consequences of this?
Well, first of all, they would have to explain why they went off investigation. They'd have to show where it was in the investigation.
Where does that help you if they've gone off
And
investigation?
if they have gone off investigation, then steps would have to be taken because
No, sorry, I apologize. You start by saying why they went off
Yes.
investigation, and I'm saying the why is irrelevant. As based on your and my discussion, we've established that there was no such investigation that can justify this summons. Now, I'm interested in consequence management.
So in terms of the consequence management, either I'd have to first determine if this was the first time and hope to God that it is. But if it is, then it is a matter of him being given a written warning, or this actually in this way. And now that we do have the IDAC judge, is to perhaps refer it there because this is irregular and unprocedural in the manner in which it was done. It didn't have we kept talking about the section 27 as a basis for things. Where's the basis for this? So what is the process you follow when you don't have a basis? And why did you embark then on a process that isn't allowed when you do not have a registered, whether it is an inquiry or an investigation or an authorized matter? And that would be something that would have to be escalated for an investigation outside of the framework of IDAC, which is the IDAC judge.
Is the